Scary times at sea. 4 Canadians stuck on a cruise ship as a deadly virus is suspected of claiming 3 lives. What we know about the rodent-borne illness called hantavirus. Good afternoon. This is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan. A deadly virus is suspected of lurking on a cruise ship as we speak, and 4 Canadians are among the 150 at risk. So far, 3 lives are suspected of being lost to hantavirus. It's a rodent-borne illness that can transfer from rat to human. Right now, the ship is off the coast of Cape Verde and is seeking international help from the World Health Organization and nearby countries, as they would like to disembark 2 crew members in need of urgent medical attention. They are said to be of British and Dutch nationalities, but officials say the virus that comes with respiratory complications can be difficult to treat. And a Canadian survivor of the virus shares how she was told to prepare for the worst.
It was confirmed that it was something that was passed from rodent to human, not human to human. And when they put me under quarantine in the hospital for 7 days, they finally said there was nothing more they could do for me and to get my end of life in order. And that was very scary as a single mom.
The company that operates the cruise Oceanwide Expedition says the first passenger who became unwell died on April 11th. Breaking news coming to us this afternoon. Within the last 2 hours or so, sources confirmed to CTV that Prime Minister Mark Carney will be announcing Canada's next Governor General tomorrow. For the last few days, Carney has been overseas and said to be pulling closer to Europe as a trading partner. But he will touch down in Canada in time for Tuesday's announcement. So far, the name of the next GG remains unreleased. But this individual will be replacing current Governor General Mary Simon. Her term is set to end this summer. She became the first Indigenous person to serve as representative of the monarch in July of 2021. Turning to a CTV Ottawa exclusive now, an off-duty Ottawa firefighter is being credited with helping to save the life of a pedestrian seriously injured after being struck by a vehicle in Centertown Friday afternoon. CTV's Katie Griffin explains why some are summing it up as in the right place at the right time, Katie.
Well, Stefan, not only was Jason Murray in the area at the time, he was also carrying a tourniquet that was urgently needed to treat the pedestrian. This happened around 4:30 Friday afternoon at Laurier and O'Connor. A vehicle went up on the sidewalk, striking a man in his 20s and crashing into a building. Murray is also a first aid instructor for the fire service and has been carrying a tourniquet in his backpack for more than a decade, and he knew he had to act fast.
And I told him, I said, I'm a first responder. I'm going to put a tourniquet on your leg to help stop the bleeding. It was cut pretty bad by the glass, and so we used one of those terry cloths to hold pressure on the wound, and I got him to focus on holding that pressure. And I'll say he was very calm based on the circumstance, and he was able to help out.
Other people in the area also jumped into action, grabbing first aid kits and cloths. Fire crews from nearby stations arrived 2 minutes after the initial 911 call and provided care until paramedics arrived to take the man to hospital. We're told he's doing okay given the circumstances. Stefan?
All right, CTV's Katie Griffin with the exclusive. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
Thousands of federal public service workers will now be required to be in office 5 days a week, as the government says executives must now be on site full-time. CTV's Dylan Dyson joins us with the latest change to the public sector's workforce. Dylan.
Yes, Stefan, it's another step forward in the federal government's return to office mandate. As of today, all executives in the federal public service will be required to work on site 5 days per week. The return to office mandate will see more than 9,300 executives back in the office full time. The move back to 5 days a week in office for executives was announced back in February by the Treasury Board, which says working together on site is an essential foundation of a strong teams, collaboration, and culture needed during this pivotal moment and beyond. As of July 6th, though, all other federal employees will be required to work in the office 4 days a week, up from the current 3 days per week.
I rarely personally see, I do interact with people at the office, but it's a very minimal basis. And the majority of my time collaborating with my teammates is just through Teams.
I think one thing I'm not for is an umbrella, one-size-fits-all kind of approach to RTO.
Many returning to in-office work have told CTV News they have concerns regarding desk space at the office and the lack of available parking. On the heels of all this, the Public Service Alliance of Canada says it is currently negotiating a new contract for more than 120,000 public servants. PSAC has called the latest offer from the government insulting, saying the proposal amounts to a less than 1% increase per year. Stefan.
Right, CTV's Dylan Dyson with this update for us. Thank you, Dylan. The provincial government is making moves to crack down on drug use on transit. The proposed legislation would allow transit special constables to stop people from using drugs, including issuing tickets or making arrests if people refuse to comply. Ottawa is one of the jurisdictions that currently has special constables. While this proposed legislation is still in the early days, it's not yet clear how special constables would be able to manage this type of task. Earlier this year, Ottawa City Council voted 11-7 to endorse the provincial legislation. The idea met with mixed reviews from riders.
That would be a good thing if they can make some difference on that.
I don't think that they're equipped with whatever, the knowledge or the training probably. Like they have other jobs and like it would be adding to the work that they have without probably proper training.
The city's chief safety officer says OC Transpo will go over the legislation and look at what changes will be made here, including training for constables if needed. A Barrhaven community came together this weekend to honor Peter Clark, the crossing guard who was killed while on duty back in March. Friends, family and neighbors gathered at Weybridge Park to grieve and remember Clark. He was killed last month while working the intersection of Cedarview Road and Kenneville Drive. Clark's wife, Amanda, spoke about his kindness and positive impact on the community.
I've always been proud of you, Peter, and now the world is showing it too. You do deserve this recognition.
A bench honoring Clark was unveiled at the gathering. A driver has been charged in connection to the crash. 19-year-old Xander Wright has pleaded guilty to failing to stop after an accident causing death, but not guilty to dangerous operation of a vehicle causing death. Gatineau police say a 21-year-old man is facing charges in connection with a late-night homicide at a strip club in Gatineau in April. In a statement, police say Bradley Gerard is facing one count of second-degree murder in connection with the death of 39-year-old Justine Lausch. On April 23rd, police responded to reports of gunfire at Bar 77 in the Lac-Beauchamp district. Lausch was found with serious injuries and pronounced dead at the scene. This is Gatineau's first homicide of the year. Last night, a vigil was held outside Bar 77 where Lausch was fatally shot. Mourners lit candles and placed flowers at the site. A moment of silence was held as people honored the 39-year-old woman who is being remembered as a precious friend and devoted colleague. The Canadian government hosted a groundbreaking ceremony today marking the start of construction of the National Monument to Canada's mission in Afghanistan. The groundbreaking marks the future site of the National Monument at Liberton Flats. It will recognize the commitment and sacrifice of thousands of Canadians who served in Afghanistan, including 158 Canadians who lost their lives there between 2001 and 2014. The monument is expected to be completed in late 2028. The Canadian Tire Centre is getting set to host the Ottawa Charge later this week for their first home game of their playoff series. The Charge posted this time-lapse video to social media. It shows workers removing the Ottawa Senators logo from center ice and replacing it with the Charge logo. The team is facing the Boston Fleet in their PWHL playoff series, currently tied at 1 game apiece. The Charge will play their playoff home games at the CTC, starting with Game 3 on Friday, followed by Game 4 on Sunday. Coming up on CTV News at 5, CFRA's Christy Cameron will join us to talk about the Ford government's changes aimed at tackling drug use on public transit. And our Jackie Perez has our first look at the forecast. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Clear skies for most of our Monday. What a way to kick off the week. Temperatures right now, 21 here in Ottawa, 19 along the Seaway, but 21 degrees in Pembroke as well as Petawawa. You may have noticed the winds picking up as well. This will continue into the overnight and tomorrow with gusts up to 40 kilometers per hour overnight. 13 degrees, that overnight low. Fairly mild temperatures tomorrow. A daytime high of 19 degrees. And yes, we could see a chance of showers moving in. We'll have those details for you much more in just a bit. But for now, we're going to take it back to you, Stefan.
Thank you, Jackie. Here's what you need to know. Check out the Spring Art Festival this coming Saturday at the Jim Tubman Rink. More than 30 artists will showcase their original works. The one-day event is on from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Admission is free. A live check on traffic right now. Things are very busy on this first Monday of May. In the westbound lanes of the Queensway, it's slow going from Nicholas all the way out to Woodruff. Eastbound has moderate to heavy traffic volume from Rochester to Innis, and there is a collision near Lees, also just after the split. You're watching CTV News at 5, and we'll be right back. Our popular Team of the Week segment is back. If you want to be a part of our Myers Automotive Group Team of the Week, upload your video to ctvnewsottawa.ca. We are taking a closer look now at a story we brought you earlier in the newscast. The Ontario government is introducing regulatory changes to give special transit constables more power, including making arrests when it comes to people using drugs on public transit. Today's radio question of the day is asking, should OC Transpo special constables be able to arrest and fine drug users?
These people are not really equipped to be dealing with these sorts of situations. And I mean, it's absurd to think that you're going to hand out tickets to homeless drug addicts. You can't get blood from a stone, right? So I think a lot of this is just the Ford government trying to make it seem like they're doing something when they're really not.
Christy Cameron is here with more, and a very to-the-point comment from that listener. You can't get blood from a stone. How do they expect them to truly enforce this and make sure that these individuals are being held accountable? Christy, what are your thoughts?
Well, to back it up here, I know that this is a major problem in cities like Toronto. In Ottawa, certainly I've seen it anecdotally. You go to a train station and you see that people are smoking drugs and they're inside. But how do you deal with that? Maybe on paper this made sense to the Ford government because they thought people are using drugs, it's happening on transit, special constables, police transit. So yeah, we'll use them. But it's a bit more complicated than that, and I've got questions. Are they the right people for the job? Do they have the proper training to do this? We know that even though special constables get training, they don't have the same level of training as Ottawa police officers. They also don't have weapons, tasers, or guns. So let me ask you this. If police were struggling to keep up with complicated mental health calls before, is it fair to put special constables in this position? Sure, we're adding more manpower to try and address a problem, but are they the right people? I really do question that. I've also heard from critics on the show today, including the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, that this is concerning at a charter level and also that we're criminalizing poverty, that this could be used to go after people who are really in a tough spot.
Certainly. And, it also makes you wonder if these special constables not having the training or perhaps the tools that you mentioned, if they wouldn't be putting themselves at risk trying to deal with maybe some of these individuals that will be apprehensive to being detained.
Yeah, we know these calls can be incredibly difficult, that there's a lot of training. I mean, you think about people that are living on the street, that are in the throes of a mental health crisis. It's tremendously challenging. On that note, there are associations that represent these police officers, these special constables, and I know the association before has been advocating for them to have more power, to have even weapons to some degree. Okay. So we'll see where that goes. If they're going to be put on these calls, are they going to want more powers like that, including the use of tasers? So that they themselves can feel safe while dealing with these calls. Thank you for this, Christy. Very important conversation to have, and you can join the conversation yourself and leave a comment through the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6, and now watch Christy's segments anytime on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA channel. Coming up on CTV News at 5, Costco wants to revamp part of its wholesale business center in the East End with a new addition on the outside. We'll have the details. Also, here's what else you need to know. The Mother's Day Flower Fun Run is this Sunday at Dow's Lake. There's a 1-kilometer run for kids and a 5K run. The scenic event will have participants running by thousands of blooming tulips, part of the Canadian Tulip Festival kicking off on Friday.
Coming up on CTV following the 6 o'clock news, E-Talk starts at 7:30. Back-to-back episodes begin of The Big Bang Theory at 7:30. Hockey Fanatics at 8:30. Quiz with Balls at 9 and The Rookie at 10. Now for another check on the weather, Jackie's live in studio with us tonight. And Jackie, fairly windy out there.
That's right. You might have noticed the wind starting to pick up, Stefan, and this will continue into the overnight and tomorrow morning. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam, where it is 21 degrees right now, and you could already see that camera shaking a little bit because we've got wind gusts up to 50 kilometers per hour. And taking a closer look, as we can see here, we are seeing temperatures maintain in those double-digit temperatures, 13 for the overnight, 14 to kick things off. And yes, you want your umbrella around as well, because between 7 and noon, we are likely going to see the chance of showers really pick up. This could continue into the afternoon, but we are getting to a daytime high of 17 degrees. Here's a closer look at that wind speed. It's not just for downtown Ottawa, but really throughout eastern Ontario. We've already seen it pick up in the last hour, about 37 to 45 kilometers per hour for really most of the region. And this will continue into tomorrow morning, where we will still be slightly calm. Along the seaway, it's going to pick up to about 40 kilometers per hour. It's going to strengthen up to 42, based to about 50 as well throughout eastern Ontario. And by 5 p.m., the winds are really going to be quite windy. Now, temperature-wise in the valley, 11 overnight, 15 for tomorrow's daytime high. Again, you want to hang on to that umbrella because we could see some periods of showers moving through. 14, the anticipated daytime high for the seaway. And a closer look at the conditions. This satellite radar is showing that it's going to be closer to the 9 o'clock hour that we could see some rain activity moving through. It is going to clear by the time the afternoon rolls around, but mainly cloudy skies. Still a chance that we could see a little bit of that rain moving through as well. By the time we get to Wednesday, clearer skies, but again, we still are keeping an eye out for a chance of precipitation, because 9 degrees is our anticipated high for Wednesday. So it's going to be quite the drop from Monday and Tuesday. Thursday, though, we'll be back up to those double digits with lots of sunshine on the way.
Weather is brought to you by Manotick Tree. Complete tree care from start to stump.
So while we will be battling with the wind, Stefan, we also want to have those umbrellas nearby, because in the early morning we could see between 5 to 10 millimeters rain moving through fairly quickly.
All right, hold on to your hats, folks. Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Here's a look at the stories you're checking out right now on CTV News Ottawa.ca. Our breaking news banner is up on our homepage, and that is headlining Alberta separatists submit more than 300,000 signatures for a referendum petition. So we'll see what develops from that. If you click on that red banner, you get all the details there. But many of you are also clicking on this link. 13 charged in a major drug bust in our region. More than $4 million worth of drugs were seized, according to police. They were responding in Cornwall and Montreal, and there was a variety of drugs. You can see them pictured here as well. People say more than a dozen people were arrested and charged. And there's a very dramatic photo of police making a raid as well. All the details on our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca. Coming up for us here on CTV News at 5, 3 young heroes recognized for their quick actions when every second matters. If you need gas tonight, one of today's cheapest gas prices can be found at the Petro-Canada station on Eagleson Road in Canada. Regular gas there tonight is going for 181.6 cents a litre. Here's another live check on traffic. We know the westbound lanes are very slow going at this time. It starts to pick up at Nicholas, and then the backups continue in the westbound lanes of the Queensway all the way out to Woodruff. Some moderate to heavy volume eastbound lanes as well. You're watching CTV News at 5.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. The temperature right now, 21 degrees. Again, it's fairly windy out there. And here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock.
It was cut pretty bad by the glass, and so we used one of those terry cloths to hold pressure on the wound, and I got him to focus on holding that pressure.
An Ottawa firefighter is sharing his story of jumping into action while off duty. He is being credited with helping to save the life of a pedestrian struck by a vehicle last week.
finally said there was nothing more they could do for me and to get my end of life in order.
A Canadian survivor of hantavirus shares her emotional story at the same time as passengers on a cruise ship deal with a potential hantavirus crisis that has left 3 dead.
In a moment like this, we just don't stand still. We act. We must defend our workers and support them and support our businesses.
The federal government announces $1 billion in new support for steel and aluminum businesses hit by President Trump's tariffs. Now for the final 5 other stories we're following today.
When you're calling 911, don't hesitate. You just have to do it.
The city is recognizing 3 young heroes who took action when it mattered most. Each child received an award today for responding with bravery in a crisis and calling 911, helping loved ones in emergency situations. Costco wants to build a new gas station at the Costco Wholesale Business Center on Searville Road, along with a new entrance to the store. Under the plan, 18 pumps would be built right away, with 6 others built during future expansion. The station would be strictly for gas, food, and convenience items would not be for sale. Construction is expected to begin this spring and be done this summer. IKEA Canada wants to install a new giant digital billboard at its store in the city's West End. In a statement to CTV News, IKEA Canada says it plans to install a 50-foot by nearly 38-foot LED screen on the outside wall of the Irish Street store on Irish Street facing the 417. The screen would use a light sensor to vary brightness for day and night.
Last year, 100,000 people came through the doors, and we really felt that there was enough buy-in that, this was the right time to really stress that baseball is back in Ottawa, and it's not just here to stay, but it really is in full swing, and you need to be a part of it.
The Ottawa Titans are getting set for their new season, starting with the sold-out home opener this Friday night at the Ottawa Baseball Stadium. It will be the first sellout at the stadium since the Ottawa Lynx in 2022. The Titans are also planning new promotions, themed games, and fan experiences for the upcoming season. That is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. Be sure to join us for CTV News at 6. The early edition of National starts now.